Hi, good evening everyone. Welcome to 106th edition of Fireport 80. Fireport 80 is a monthly technology session hosted by Fire in association with NASCOM. The session aims to provide a platform for tech enthusiasts to come together to discuss and analyze the emerging trends in technology in the IT industry. This endeavor aims to create tech communities that will enable peer group learning. I welcome you all. But before the session, let's start with a few of the latest updates from the tech world. I welcome Pallavi for the Tech Byte session.
Good evening, everyone. Let's get started with the tech bytes. The first news is first one is we have the launch of one of the latest AI innovations from Meta. The company recently released its new generative AI tool, AudioCraft, which lets you create audio and music. The best part is that AudioCraft is free and open source. The next one is a new feature update from WhatsApp. Now you can send video messages of up to 60 seconds directly through WhatsApp chat. This is similar to the voice message feature and can be activated by tapping the voice chat icon once. അവിടെ ടാപ്പ് ചെയ്താൽ മതി അല്ല ഒരു വട്ടം അല്ല അപ്പൊ അത് വീഡിയോ ആവും ആണ് ചെയ്തു അപ്ഡേറ്റ് ചെയ്താൽ മതി വാട്സപ്പ്. The next news is ChatGPT does not have any major breakthroughs this month. However, it is still new for releasing its official Android app. The app is currently available on Play Store in the US, India, Bangladesh, and Brazil. And the last one is we saw generative AI news related to text and audio, but we have news from image generation as well. Adobe Generative Expand allows you to expand images beyond their original sizes. The model also accepts prompt in over 100 languages. Okay, with that, let's wind up this section. Thank you.
Thank you, Pallavi. Without any further delay, let's enter the main session. Our speaker for the day is an accomplished professional with over 22 years of experience in software industry, demonstrating proven expertise in leading teams to architect solution. He has successfully delivered cloud native solution and facilitated platform adoption focusing on AIOps. Currently, he is researching generative AI based automation and AI ethics. With that, I welcome Binish to the session.
Hello. Audible? So, thank you. Thank you for having me. I'll start off from where the tech guys left. Meta has idly taken it through. Now the thing is, Microsoft is funding it heavily. If you see that, all companies are going behind people who are working like what we are working here. So kudos to Fire on getting this done. Why? We are looking at the new platform right now. All the majors are waiting for someone to come up with a good idea. They are acquiring it for unprecedented kind of amounts, plus taking it in. No, if think about it, no new company has come out with a groundbreaking project or a product. So the hands are really dirty with all these biggies. They're waiting for someone like you, me, to come out with something. And the platform really offers that, which is completely fresh in the market, AIOps. So with that, we look into a small case study of how generative AI can be used. So welcome to the talk. Starting with what it is, what we are looking at when we're talking about AIOps. How many of you are into operations, IT operations? Show of hands. Developers. What is IT operation for sure? Yeah. So what is? Well, definitely. I mean, we are not born knowing everything, right? So, what is IT operations? How many of you are developers? Right? Most of us are developers. Right. So when you develop something, you need someone in the back end to make sure your systems are running, make sure that the updates are there, the patches are there, your operating system is upgraded as and when required, your infra is ready. When you need to put in a piece or build in a code or do a release, there is someone working. You check in your code, then what happens from there till what it reaches production. You need to go ahead, do all the QA gates, you need to go ahead and test it in UAT, you need to qualify for production, right? So the entire process, we normally call it as operations. So development is the tip of the iceberg, but when customers really use it, that's when it becomes a complete software environment. So that is what is operations. Now, where exactly did we draw a line between operations, DevOps, Cloud Ops? You know that journey? How many of you are aware of that journey? Okay, so we used to do everything manual, right? So if we need to set up a server, we need to go there, find a data center. It was a 6 months project to set up complete running data center. We had a lot of people traveling across the globe. Thanks to that, all Indians were able to see a lot of worldwide, and we all enjoyed that. Now, sitting at the remotest chair in your local tattakada or chayakada, you can launch a system as good as capable of handling your Bahubali kind of rendering in probably 15 minutes. That's the power of cloud ops and AI ops that we are talking about right now as we speak. Now, that transformation of 15 to 20 months of work getting done in 15 minutes, that is the revolution that we're talking about. That's what AI ops is aiming at, and that's what we're doing right now. This is not somewhere in the far future or the near future. This is happening as we speak. Now, adding to the insult or adding to the injury is the generative AI driven piece of operations. Okay, so that's what we are trying to highlight here. If your AI can generate, Deepu is not writing any more mails across. He is asking the GPT or the bard to give him a letter which goes across the globe, right? We don't need, I personally have received a lot of input stating that all the PAs or the assistants have stopped working on being an addition of typing in something for any CXOs. That layer is completely gone. The way that transcripting or people who are doing transcription, that's gone. Now we're talking about people who are getting into say development, the generative AI, Copilot. How many of you use Copilot? Have you written any code yourself? 43% of the code right now checked in is Copilot. 43. Now, that is still okay. Think about a situation where your 90% of code is driven by Copilot. Meaning, I'm not trying to terrorize. I'm only trying to go ahead, leverage that layer. Don't be the people that these operations will be replacing. Be among that group who is going to drive it. That is the call. When computing came in, people were afraid, like all the typist job will go away. But it gave way to a lot of people who can code. But come GPT or generative AI, that space is completely vanishing. We're talking about if a program manager or a functional consultant is able to speak to a system, it gives you that, say, your software. Right? And it's learning. The next time I say, it says, yeah, better than using PHP, I'll give you a code in Python. That is where we are heading. So where exactly does AIOps fall in? AIOps talks about taking away that layer of operations that is happening. So when I say someone manages your server, how does that management happen? I have a system down message coming in. Normally in the operations side, what happens is operations get an error message, 3 hours, 4 hours is understanding who will resolve that. Then they go ahead and see through their repo. If they are the level 1 support, they will immediately see what is the escalation metrics. They will understand if it is within their capacity to go ahead and address this error. If not, it goes to L2. So the time right now is 5 hours. The escalation metric goes on, customer is still waiting. Now, a typical incident, unless it is a P1, you will not have a knock coming in. Knock is say, a kind of, say, escalation metrics at the top of the level. If it's a P1 severity outage, that's when the knock gets involved, and then all the things, ITSM, basic service management. So all this will happen. A normal incident takes anywhere between 8 hours to, say, probably 24 hours. Normal one. If it is production, definitely give it benefit of doubt. All people come together. Now that will get cleared in 4 hours, but you will have 24 people working on that. 24 into 4 is the kind of hours that you spend on that particular incident. Now what is happening? What are we converging into? These errors are not out of the world. There is some logic to how this error happened. We are feeding this information onto your ChatGPT or your generative AI. What it does is it analyzes this error message. The same way it analyzes the context of what we are speaking, it gives you that response, right? I am blindly believing that everyone has used generative AI, right? You talk to it sometime, come back, and then say probably in 1 month you reinitiate the same thread. It will have all the context of what you have talked 1 month before and then give you the answer. The same way it will learn your error. The error that I have put in, say for instance, in my code, I said I don't like this, or I write something in Malayalam, maduttu, jeevitham maduttu. എഴുതിയായിരുന്നു അശ്വിനല്ലേ മാനേജറെ കൊല്ലണം അങ്ങനെയായിരുന്നു എന്തായിരുന്നു സ്റ്റോപ്ഡ് മടുത്തു same code. No one across the globe will know that Ashwin has written that, right? But the moment that you train your custom data, right, your custom model, and give it to your generative AI, the moment that you say stopped or maduttu, it'll say Ashwin has written this. Uncomment that piece of code and it will work. Think about that. Right? So this is the power of, say, the kind of language model that you're looking at, feeding this into the system. So that's where we are talking about 24 people working for 4 hours, whatever is 24 into 4. Anyone knows? Pettu. 96 hours spent on a particular issue. So 96 hours now getting replaced in, say, 1 minute, max to max. Right? We are not doing magic. What does an L3 do? They break down that particular error message and they come out with saying, yeah, this piece of information, say for not for 0, it doesn't find it. Where exactly does the network package drop? It's dropping at this particular web tier, meaning incoming traffic is getting dropped there, meaning that particular web server is not working. You're feeding the same information onto the system. You and me are out of the system. This is what is happening. Then what are we achieving at the cost of our life, our children's life, bread and butter? What are we earning? We are earning SLA of 0%. SLAs is what we are being billed for, but we are keeping the SLA up. We are talking about a comprehensive approach. Error happened. Ashwin left the company. Now he is working in Google. Now that error comes in after 50 years, but this system will remember that. Context keeping. There is no escape. But so the thing is, comprehensive approach. It will keep a track and it's always learning. Any error that comes in, it keeps on learning, right? So if I am doing error decoding, I will only have a context of what I have done probably the 10 errors backwards or probably 1 month back. I will lose context, but this can remember. So which means you will get a more informed solution for the problem at hand, right? And also it's your custom data plus the data that is happening across the flow, which is fed into its repo, right? So 100% SLA comprehensive approach, savings. Talk about anything on cloud, it's all about saving, because we moved from data centers to cloud saying that there's going to be a lot of cost savings, but effectively what has happened is we're spending more. So there, because it's human. We are learning the tricks. Not everyone is as adept into cloud and saving things. So this talks about saving and how does it save things. It does not wait for any decision. Your theory is put into that logic. It automatically acts on that. You don't have to wait for someone multiple approvals and stuff like that. If it's given, it goes through that path. It brings that efficiency or brings in that kind of a saving without you knowing it, right? So that kind of efficiency is what we are looking at. Informed decisions, all those said and done, where it started and where we are today. You know how things have been transformed from where we started using, say, GPT from March, right? How it transformed, the way that it has come across. Now, how are we going to leverage, say, all these threat out there? Now, why am I saying threat? For people who are not informed, to be is to do, is what Socrates says. If you want to be running the show, you need to start doing stuff. As in, you need to do harness on that energy. Harness that. Sitting and complaining, you will be eventually out of the pack. But be informed, move fast to go ahead and be that, because the market is pumping by 2030, 70 billion. In 23, this year it's expected to be a $15 billion market. There are a lot of inquiries for projects, for people who know not just how to give the right cues or the words, but to go ahead and make it work in your favor. So that market is out there. It's up to you for grabs. Now how? How do we train any system for that matter? How do you train? The 4 steps are there. This is all about giving the context, the engines or the algorithms that are there. NLP is there, NLU is there, then the GPTs are there. So this algorithms out there, it does real world data understanding from the repo or the LLMs that they have. LLMs is large language models, you know that, right? So from there they learn it. But the error messages that is happening to your product and my product, there is no way that the system will ever know. Correct? So to that we need to add what type of error messages or what type of impact do we expect the system to give us. That part is the custom training, custom data model training that we're talking about. Why? Because Ashwin's error or the comment that he has added, only he knows, or probably very close people to him knows. Right? ലൈവിലുള്ളവർ പറഞ്ഞിട്ടുണ്ട്, അത് വേറെ വിഷയം. പക്ഷേ the thing is, that, say, very close group only knows that. How will a system know it? So you say that if this piece of error comes, this is the kind of response. It is possible that these could be the solutions. You're getting the drift, right? So that is what happens in this 4 steps. How do you train your model? This is how they have historically trained any data learning model. That is, collect your data, which is your data. You massage the data, you prepare and say that these are all rubbish. You clean your data, yeah, you say prep it, and then say if out of these 3 things, this comes, yeah, this could be the response. Model training, that's the reinforcement training that we talked about. How do you do it? Then automated detection and triage, model can identify potential problem, then prioritize. These are all the part, I mean, these are all theory. Net, what you need, an engine in the backend. Adding to it, you need to give your custom data. It could be as simple as what is my address, right? If you ask Google or ChatGPT, it doesn't know. No. The moment that I say and I link my login to my AD or my Active Directory or any other federation that you have, Gem Cloud, name it, with an API, you connect it to that particular chat, and then I just say what is my name, it will automatically pick from my login, my token, it will understand who I am. What happens there is, if you are using it for your company or the way that you're working, it understands who is doing what. There will come a kind of situation, you will not need SDKs. Your code will be generated and handled by your interactive generative AI UI. Because your login is tracked, you just say either you're going to Copilot, right? You don't have to go Copilot. When Copilot or Azure DevOps is plugged in, you have GitHub plugged in, right? So from your Azure AD or your any AD that you use in the front end, it comes in and then say, I need this piece of code, and your code is already checked in. It can already read that. You're getting the drift. So you'll only need one point. You don't need to install anything. Give a running environment, it automatically generates a VM on the cloud and then say this is how it comes in. It also tells you what is the error, what is your code quality. It is already going to go ahead and tell you what is the possible error because it developed it for you. Okay, so this is how we are looking into the future of, and this entire slide I said I want a slide for AIOps, and this is what ChatGPT gave me. This is not my slide. This is completely, even the code itself, the only thing that I pasted on top of it is this one. And it was the generative AI that said, leveraging artificial intelligence and machine learning for enhancing efficiency. What else can you ask? And these are all AI generated, not me. So artificial intelligence for AI, I mean IT operations. I think we covered that, right? It identifies the problem. It finds a solution. It even goes ahead to that extent where it says, yes, this could be proactively done if you do these steps. Now, how will it learn such things? Have you have anything like a service now where you track all your incidents or your client calls or client issues? Jira, anything like that? Right? We something is there. At least an Excel is there. Right? A minimum baseline is an Excel file. Where this client called, this was the issue, this was the issue. Just feed it to this, and all generative AI, it says, give it to us in a JSON file, even an image, or even a table. We will learn it. Even an image with the error message or a screenshot. That is the level of learning that generative AI can do these days. Getting it? So again, the call here is not to say personify AI as some dragon coming and taking our lives. It's all about taming the dragon, right? So knowing that will help us in a lot of ways. When you're writing your code, see what best you can do or leverage on that tool so that you are efficient as a developer, as a tester, as an operations guy, right? So here we're talking about what AIOps and what it can do. This is again a generic one on how evolved into understanding and where we are, how it transformed from natural language processing to understanding to generation, which is NLU and NLG. There under NLG we have a lot of algorithms which took the entire thing into this shape that we are seeing today. Now, once it is there, what next? It's not there to go ahead and create a lot of stories or emails or you say and then it create and give you it in text. There is Mid-Journey which creates image. And we just saw how Photoshop say goes ahead and enlarges the picture, right? So all these for a greater impact. How many of you know Skynet? Which movie, what it does? Terminator. So something is going to come which can control everything. I'm not saying Skynet is underway with Elon Musk. No, you can achieve that. There is a very close source of an information that ChatGPT 5 has got that AGI, general intelligence. General intelligence, what we're talking about is you and me, we say that we have an IQ. Say we are all measured on terms of IQ, right? AGI has that IQ. It can respond, it can think and talk as good as a human. Now the problem is the next level, ASI, super intelligence. It will definitely take over, collective of all our IQs, right? So that is where we are headed. Now, in that sense, I mean, this is not legally approved or being projected, but it is there. Come quantum computing to it, it's all about managing. So coming to that, how do we use it to our benefit? That's what the session is all about. It's not about threatening and then talking. Why do we get threatened? Because if we are not able to cope up with something, that's when you feel threatened. But if you are able to harness that, definitely you are the master of it, right? So the benefits that we are looking at, applications stay up and up full time. We need production to be running 24/7. We're talking about applications running 24/7 without any issue, without any human intervention. How is that possible? When we are talking about generative AI handling errors, what we are doing indirectly is to say that this is my issue, this particular patch. We have already kept it there. Add something like a Neuralink or a Grafana. How many of you use Neuralink, Grafana, App Dynamics, anything, any such monitoring system? It can trigger an error. Right now it comes as an email. We need to go ahead and act on it. Plug that alert into a system, right? The system understands based on its custom training. It acts on the given solution because it's already integrated to your service now. Because historically all your incidents that has the same keywords of errors, it will automatically pick it up. Run a pipeline which will do that particular fix. 0 SLA hit, mean 100% SLA achieved. Getting it, right? So sir, all these benefits put together, where are we headed? If we don't upgrade ourselves, that is the call out. If we don't upgrade in this journey of using it to our advantage, someone else will come and take it off. That is the main thing. And how do we achieve it? So any company that runs the operations, it is expected to have a stack in place, as in a stack which will be capable of understanding stuff. understanding your IT operations, be able to break it down into monitoring capabilities. Having that capabilities monitoring done, it should be in a position to go ahead and convert into cues or trigger points for your generative AI, which can automatically run the remediation. That is something known as a self-healing system. This is what we are trying to achieve with generative AI right now. So starting from define your objectives as in what exactly you need to do in case of an issue found or a monitoring failure. Establish the right stack, which includes your App Dynamics, Neuralink, Grafana. Then define your health metrics. Say, for instance, if your CPU is running at a 80%, go ahead, restart. Restart that particular machine, provided it's not in production. Right? If production, wait for so much and so much time. If it is in production, these are all if and else kind of situations which need to be trained under your metrics. Implement automated alerts, the one that we're talking about. Rule based. It's all rule based alerts, or SendGrid sends you the mail, or Azure or AWS notifications. Design your remediation strategies. What need to happen? That's the next logical step. Develop intelligent decision making based on, because there could be false positives. False positives are normally addressed by multiple iterations, and it makes sure that you don't do an action without a guarantee that this is an actual failure point. So that's your intelligent part, as in the process that you define how often you should take action. Implement automation. You can have Azure. I'm sorry to have used Azure because we predominantly are in Azure, and that's the reason why it comes in AWS. We can use Lambda functions. Azure, you have Azure functions. It could be any trigger. It could be as simple as a stored procedure that you have in your database. So put in your automation, test and validate, continuous improvement, and security consideration. And these are all generic stuff that you need to consider while putting in your AIOps stack. Coming to the tools, how we have done it. This is the stack that we have used. Under research are a couple of more things, but this is in production right now. The tool stack that we use is App Dynamics. The reason why App Dynamics is that right now we are into a complete convergence of a single Grafana Azure kind of a stack. But how we arrived at there is based on multiple multiple tool evaluation, and finally we reached there. It may not be a silver bullet for the use case that you might have in mind. Your log analytics, then you have Azure Monitor, Application Insight, Neuralink. All these are now getting converged into either a Grafana stack here. Neuralink, for some reason, we are keeping based on the need. App Dynamic has synthetic monitoring, where you can give your own test data to run an application and then get it out of it. So criticality based tool selection. It's not based on the tool that we run a solution. It is based on the need that we select the tool. So keep that in mind while selecting that option. So here what we have done is this Grafana. It's all coming to the Grafana stack. We are using Kubernetes heavily on the platform side, and this is of interest, this particular layer. Earlier it was the triggering part was webhooks, triggers a pipeline, Grafana on call, which automatically do a bit of remediation. But at a better level, we have got MoveSoft doing that. Now, these are all going to be replaced by either a ChatGPT or a bot. What we are trying to do is probably from a Neuralink directly call your ChatGPT or any other generative AI for that matter. So this is the level of automation or AIOps based remediation that we're talking. Now, how is it going to benefit? This is an in-depth study, a bit exhaustive one. The reason why I have it there is what was our process, our thought process in picking up a stack and why we did it. This will have a bit more in depth. I see that it might be a bit too. Are you all feeling a bit sleepy? Kind of. It's okay. Happens, right? I'll stop here. Any questions that you have? All clear? That's something very good. Okay. You have a question? Yes. You have good. Okay. So Deepu sir, all okay, right? മുഖഭാവം കണ്ടിട്ട് അങ്ങനെ പോകുന്നുണ്ടെങ്കിൽ continue. So this again, I said, when I told this is just a in-depth study, just to baseline what we are doing and how we analysis done. Now, from where we started and where are we headed? So we started from being reactive to proactive. Reactive is that issue has already happened. There is, then you get into a firefighting mode, go ahead, find the problem, fix it, find the right people, fix it, and if it fixes, it fixes. But in a proactive thing, what happens is if there are metrics that is going down, and historically while this happened, this error occurred. That's the proactive part. So it will automatically try and find solutions to that particular issue and then pop it out. It is a possible instance of such cases. So you can do proactive steps, or it can even go ahead. I can give an example of you are under a DDoS attack, for instance. DDoS attack, how many of you know DDoS? DDoS, denial of service. So denial of service is when an exposed IP is being bombarded with rogue request from, say, some hackers, for instance. Right? So at that point, what happens is your legitimate requests are not getting served. So when historically this happened, you identified it as DDoS. So the system automatically tells you, or system predicts that it could be a particular DDoS case. So what it does is, whatever is the oncoming IP range, or whichever customer, if you're in a SaaS-based model, it will take that customer offline, which will degrade that service for that particular customer, but at the same time, you are keeping the uptime for your 99 other customers. Getting it? So you're being proactive, which really helps to go ahead and keep your name out there when it comes to handling your product and your services. Fair? Now, context keeping. Context keeping, and like what I told, if you have data of 50 years, it will keep a track of all your incidents of 50 years, which can bring out a very impactful outcome. Then human readable alerts. Yeah, right now, what we are having is error that comes in 404 error. What is it? 404, 403, forbidden, 479. So that's the thing. That's the thing, sir. It's also needed to know there is no 479, right? So if you're getting something like that, you should have a way to say that this is a valid error or not. You end up researching that value. Whereas the system automatically gives it to you in a readable form. As a novice, I would sit and think about what is a 404. Whereas in my human readable alerts, it says that server to which it is hitting, it will also give me that IP 10 dot whatever is your internal IP 10.xx is not resolving, and this is probably the web tier, because that information, it was for an L2 or an L3 to come out with that kind of a say deciphering your error message. But right now, anyone who is looking into the system can see, yeah, this is the error and this is what it is talking about in your context, in your product's context. That is the difference when you use smart correlation and context enrichment. Why is smart correlation? Your customer will report system not working. The context there is a Microsoft outage today. You say that in your model, go to services.microsoft.com, where it says all the services and it has been available for such and such. If there is an outage, it will say it is out. And your customer says system not working, it will automatically check your initial, all your basics, and then tell you it's possible because that service is down. Otherwise, what will happen is we will end up troubleshooting things. We will be ending chasing ghost. I mean, definitely we will come to it. But what happens is it will be an hour, 2 hour later. But immediately, as soon as it finds that smart correlation, yesterday you had a system update, and today you have a problem. System can suggest it could be possible patch update that might have caused. That really enables your operations. You're getting that correlation right now, right? So that level of custom data training to your generative AI can impact how you handle your day-to-day operations. That is what we are converging to. And this is the proposed kind of system that we were talking about. We were building with all these GANs and then threatenings and then this ghost stories and all. So net, this resolves into this, wherein I have my Grafana Neuralink kind of monitoring stack. I have my Teams, the Teams channel that you have for your customer interaction. It could be your portal. Customer logs in and say, I have got this error. What they do is they just give you that error message if they are able to see that error. They paste it in. If error is automatically detected, it finds this error, sends it to Mooksort of whatever is your generative AI stack, sends it there. It will check for all these data ingestion and it will respond accordingly. If a customer is pinging, think about your customer support channel. They might be watching a YouTube movie. Thank you, sir. എല്ലാവരും ഉണർന്നു ഇങ്ങനെയുള്ള ചില ഉണർത്തലുകൾക്കായി കാത്തിരിക്കുമ്പോഴാണ്. Thanks much. So yeah, so when your customer service is sleeping, what happens is something of this comes in, then you wake up and then immediately search where am I mean, so what AI let you do is you can sleep on call. AI will identify what customer is coming because they have a login. They'll understand which customer, if it's a SaaS model. It will talk to that particular customer in the same context what he is talking or he or she is talking. That I have got this error, what should be it? Okay, I'm looking it up, let me come back to you. It immediately goes and search your Jira or your ServiceNow or your incident management tool, comes back and tell boss this is the case. Customer is at rest. We need 15 minutes to resolve this. Why? Because that incident earlier got crossed in 15 minutes. Think about it. You are calling a service and they tell this will be resolved in 15 minutes. What is the level of customer satisfaction that you get? Think about talking to Vodafone and then say, yeah, I will do a new, say, tower in 15 minutes. Kind of satisfaction you get, right? So that is what is going to happen when AI steps in and then say, yeah. And it is talking to context. It's not just saying arbitrary number saying that boss, yeah, we'll resolve. No. It's based on that history. All these incidents has got closed. It's a system restart that will solve your issue. System restarts in any situation happens in say probably 10 minutes. Ideally it happens in 1 minute, but setting it up 10 minutes. It says 15 minutes. What else do you want? Customers can immediately tell to their customers their system is under maintenance, takes 15 minutes to come back, and you're up by the 8th minute. But if you do a manual way, it is going to be down for 8 hours. Just benchmarking, just to show how it is going to impact it. It could either be a better turnaround when it is humans, but again, think about no one touching the system and this happening. That's the point that we are trying to drive. Yes. This is something that we are building, and we have a working model on bits and pieces, because the entire thing is the stack itself. So I've brought in something which can be of help. Let me. We are. There is this instance. Yeah, this is the alert that I'm talking about. So this is a New Relic alert that I'm talking about, and we have got a modulation figure. So this is the error message. Do you make any sense of this particular message? Production SWA equivalence 15 to 15 minutes on prod MLZ web, error rate 15%. Only a product engineer can understand and relate to this. And I'm showing this from the live one. This is an actual production alert where the entire product team had to step on a service degradation incident, which is P1, and then had to remediate this. So here it took almost 4 hours to understand what the problem is, where the problem lies. Because there are multiple aspects that when you manually trigger and then do it, you need to go ahead and start from your networking to what hits the server, where exactly your packets are being going. There are 6 or 10 pool servers that you have behind the load balancer. All those kind of stuff comes to play. Now, what we did was, we'll bring the model. The model that we trained, this particular error, if it comes in, these could be the possible issues that you find. We're not just running an interface. We can show you what is happening behind the scenes, because we are training it with the custom data. So that's what we are presenting. Oh, that's fine. Go ahead. So now we understood that issue. Now how do we resolve it? Resolving is also automatically done. So this goes in for a system restart. So for that restart, so what I'm showing you is this is for the extreme automation hackathon that we're building it. But we have got scripts for restarting the VM. The entire pipeline is triggered by a webhook or an Azure function. Okay? So at one point you get the error. You can directly feed it from a New Relic or a Grafana into your custom model. Take it into your pipeline, provided the solution what is meant or given there, you accept it. So we are giving it at a manual point to go ahead and say okay, right? Why manual point there? Because we don't know if it's going to be the actual solution at the moment. We do it 100 times, the system will automatically do it. But at this point, we are training the system to say it is possible that this could be the reason. If you remember, ChatGPT used to say these are the possible outcomes, or these are the possible answers I could find, and I would have data 2020. Like that disclaimer is it. So that's what at the stage right now. So we break down this and then give that information. And how do we bring that information? We are checking the entire ServiceNow portal, the data incident database, to go ahead and come to that solution. Right? It's not just out of the blue that we are coming out with it. We are tracking the entire ServiceNow table, matching these keywords. Because whenever that error comes in, we make sure that this entire thing is going in there, so that we'll be able to break it down. Right? So at one point you got the error, broken it down, fed it system, taught the system based on what have been the historical remedies that you have done for it. Then go ahead, ask, do you want to do this? And that is when you trigger this pipeline. Right? So if a tier 1 person with no clue of what is inside, based on this, if he is given an approval, he can go ahead and run this. Right? So in the presentation we have seen, we also found that there is this interface with Teams. So this is a bot that we created behind which we can run the pipeline. So here I am asking, this is just before 350 when we came here we did that. What happened in AIOps? Just a generic question. Now coming to eBot. eBot is what we call it. That's a keyword to initiate a bot response. I need an Azure VM. So this is not trained. This is purely based on what the Azure AI provides. The backend engine is again ChatGPT. It clearly asks me what type of VM do you need. So this is something which is normally done by a human when you're creating your say you're interacting with your endpoint. These are the questions that you generic. I can let me see if it's still up and running. Oh, sorry, I didn't. So this is how you go ahead and DC this. So this kind of an input is what we are trying to train. So now the training that will go in here is, I say that I need a slim environment. I need a UAT environment for XYZ product. It will know how many VMs are there, of which how many is web tier, how much is app tier, how much is your database. It will automatically create it. Why? Because it's triggering that pipeline at the back. And the entire thing is triggered by Terraform. Then it completes the journey through setting up or monitoring as well, the cycle. And this is completely doable today. And the entire stack is up and running. You're getting that drift, right? So this is completely customized, but there can be, that's a business opportunity in a way, because you need to know what my process is, what my errors are to generate something like this. That is where I said it's not about fearing about it, but knowing where exactly you can go ahead and hit it, which can bring in that revenue. Stack never existed. We're getting that opportunity there. That is what we need to build. That's what we need to build or develop ourselves into. So here again, Ansible, it could be Puppet, Azure Functions, or your Logic, Lambda functions. You go ahead, deploy it in your application environment, right? So this is again another piece of it, the Everbridge. Everbridge is an application that we have for setting up on-call, knock. We said priority one or severity one outages, right? This can automatically trigger while creating your solution and trying to implement it through this channel. It can also integrate into ServiceNow, create a request for getting people who are listed to address this problem. They will get calls on their mobile, they will jump on the bridge. Parallelly, it will put in a Jira request for your developers to start working on what it needs to be. If there is a solution, it automatically implements it. Three-pronged approach. And closes elastical. That's it. So these are some generic stuff that we can do, which we have achieved. The first thing is what I showed, the pipeline. You create, purge, edit cloud resources, altering ticketing, remediation, disk full. These are generic stuff that we do on a service incident day, service person's day. These are all how the logic works. All your logic app, what happens when your full stack operation or full stack application is down. Check the basic components, yes, no condition, and how we do it. Same thing. Storage out of space. Storage is like if your /opt where you have the logs are getting clogged, system stops responding. Yes, so please. Please. Yep.
Showed a bunch of yes no.
Oh, yeah.
Sorry, no, next one. Yeah.
Yep.
So the yes no.
Yes.
Right. So you have a whole algorithm with a run book which
Yep.
explains like what is the procedure in your NOC to handle outages,
Yes.
right? But the whole value proposition for AI
Yep.
was that we don't have to do this anymore. That
Uh-huh.
AI would somehow
No,
figure
that
out.
that somehow is what you have on board.
So my question is this generated by the AI or is it generated by the human beings?
Generated by humans. Training.
Okay.
The training part.
Okay.
The AI is AI because we trained it.
Okay.
Right? So
Got it.
this is the training for my per se.
Ah.
Because the AI or
Got it.
any external
Okay.
entity have no clue.
Okay. So I have a larger question.
Please.
So every product has got number of technical components, and it's not necessary that like you connect business requirements and business constraints and okay the important things about a business, right? Like for example, in our business, there is a certain set of SMSs which must go out.
Sure.
Irrespective of anything else, that's a highly critical piece. It must go out. Without that, the whole business fails.
Sure.
My question is, how do we make AI to recognize that this is the important thing, and without telling the AI, hey, because then we have to enumerate all the things which are important to the business.
Sure.
How do we tell the AI, hey, you got to figure this out without me telling you? Okay. How do we do that?
So you're asking on how to prioritize something without you telling it. There is best to tell it. If I am asking your name, there are different ways to understand, but the best way is to ask you. Right? So it's your name, it's your address, it's best given by you, so that I know this is my top answer. Now, if you look into how the machine learning happens, it will bring you a lot of say 50%, 60% probability, 70% probability. You keep on selecting the 60%, and if you see, it increases the ranking. That is the reinforcement learning that you do. Applicable for anything. Similarly, in your case, any error that comes in, you ignore everything else and you emphasize on the SMS part. System understands that it is the most critical one for you. Right? This is how you enforce. Now, it will take time. It will get confused if you're getting a lot of issues and then you ignore due to some reason some of those SMS things that you really wanted to, because business is again fluctuating on that. So it's always best you go ahead, tell your algorithm what you need in that sense, right? But ultimately the system will know. Yeah, the end. And that you don't explicitly need to tell that. Based on your selection of your answers, system will automatically understand. But that part is necessary, it's a mandate. Otherwise, it will not. So here what we are trying to show, the same error, if you remember. So this is a ground up custom model that we built based on the error that we just saw. So we can give a normal one, sir, a normal question, and then see how it responds. You saw that, right? find the answer. Yeah. Any question that you would like to pose so that we are not doing something in the background? Are you okay with this? Do you believe us on this? You believe?
So now what we are going to ask is basically, I'll start with the easy one. So my name is Rashna, okay? But ChatGPT doesn't know that my name is Rashna. So what I'm just giving here is his name. Okay, so I have a custom model which is being trained that if I put name, it should throw as abstract. So this is how custom model works. Okay, if I give phone number here, it is showing my phone number. Okay, so I'll show you one more thing. Okay, so this was the trained data that we use for that particular use case. Okay, now what I'm going to showcase you is basically we have one more trained data which Binish has recently showcased that was related to an actual error message from the Azure portal, and the resolution is given here. So we have trained the dataset with this. If I put
Just the alert, sir. Just the alert.
yeah.
Just copy the alert.
So now it is like showing that this is the actual resolution for that error. So this is a custom data that's residing inside our VM that ChatGPT doesn't know. So we have trained the model with the custom data.
If you have such 50 million questions, based on the hit, it will bring the most appropriate answer. Right? We just put in only the relevant stuff there. That's why you don't see that. What really happens here is it goes into the background in your incident management or whatever is your repo, brings back the answer. Fair? Yes. Yes. Hello.
Hello. My question is, this custom tab will only work when we train.
Yes.
So what's the, I mean, if I have 5,000 questions like that, so I
We'll
need
have to.
I need to train that.
No,
Yes.
no, 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 no. In that case, that's why we talked about this integration. So the reason why we came up with this is to show.
So what I understood from your question is like, what if a new question comes in the future, do I need to uh, uh, relearn the machine once again, right? So while Binish pick up the slide, I'll just brief on that. If that is a entirely new thing, which the ChatGPT doesn't know, then it won't work. We have to train it at least once. If it is related to a question that is already been trained, it will try to figure it out from the question that we trained earlier. See, it's basically, it is like like how we learn small kids, right? We'll have to first show them how an apple looks like. Then only they will get to know like this is an apple. If we are showing the apple for the first time, then the kid doesn't know, right? Okay, so ChatGPT doesn't know about the issues that's been happening in my Azure VM. How do ChatGPT know that? How do ChatGPT know my number? That answers the question, right?
Okay. Yes. So here we will not be training the system with the Excel file that we show. That is only for the understanding that we brought it up, right? The learning happens when you get it here in the generative AI space. It goes from here, searches your service now. Service now is your incident repository. So that is where the learning happens. We are not going to sit and give all the 5,000 issues that we said. That will never happen. If that is the case, then we can as well have our own data set, right? We can as well put in a custom one. That will not work. We are doing it on the fly by integrating it to these two of your custom data. Answers the question, right? So that the model that we brought up is to give you an understanding how custom data works. With this, I think we are at the end. Sure. So this is the final part, as in this slide again is not created. It has been created by and suggested by Bing, and it clearly says we don't have to worry. It will work with us, it seems. And it has put its signature at the lower right corner, Bing. We are completely bling. It nailed, and even the two images, Mid-Journey, the one, you know, the famous painting, right? Whose painting? Angelo. So it could either be Michelangelo handing it from the gods to humans, and when it comes to AI, it might as well leave the image. It's up to us. And the comfort that Bing gives us are not enemies, but partners in the shared quest. I gave the cue for an answer. Please give me an opinion about what AI and humans will work together. So it comforted me by saying AI and humans are not enemies, but partners in a shared quest of knowledge, creativity, and harmony. Together we can. That is where it is. So either you go ahead and then be at the level, uh, engage that generative AI, whatever is your tool, or let them drive it and then you wait and sit and see the show. With that, I conclude. Thank you. Thanks, Yoshi. Open for questions if you're sure.
If you train the pipeline and automate it completely to restart to an instance, how do you prevent accidental restarts?
Definitely. So, sir, we need to put in the right checks in place before we enact that. So that's where in that one of those uh, slides we mentioned about taking that intelligent decision before you automate. In that, yeah, here, develop intelligent decision making. It's upon us. So this has been always the question when it comes to DR, disaster recovery, right? We have a lot of false positives that it might be a network not reaching and then the heartbeat not coming through, and you say, okay, now engage DR, which cannot be, right? So at that point is where we say it's manual switch. In your case as well, what we need to do is to engage the manual switch, and the machine will learn its pattern. On what instance are you doing it? What all parameters you are evaluating before you make the switch over? That is the learning the system is up to. So it does not happen just by integrating ChatGPT or any generative. It will work out of the box. That's how it is.
Yeah, you should train the system in such a way that the system should not perform action if it feels like this is not the right thing. It's all about training the system.
Got it? Anything else? We good? Thank you. Yeah. So what question? Ah,
You have to go and retrain your system, right?
totally.
But at some point in future, somebody is going to build a self-learning botnet.
Yes.
So if that system is attacking your system, then that's basically two AIs fighting each other, right?
Yes.
So in that scenario, if the attacker has more infra than you, then it can take you down, right?
Definitely. Definitely.
So in that case, so it's going to happen. Somebody will
It
develop
will.
something like that in future.
Definitely, sir. Come quantum computing. Right now, we're talking about blockchain being the best in, say, SHA 256 is the best in encryption. And what is encryption? Encryption with 256 bit is supposed to be unbreakable with the largest computer available right now with the best compute power. Come quantum computing, Google's quantum computing has already broken that SHA algorithm. It rewrote a couple of nodes, and nobody could understand that. They denied. The thing is, you do a quantum level encryption at that point in time when it is available. 256 can be into 10 or 12 times bigger when you have quantum computing in place. Definitely, you have a car which is running in 100 kilometer or 100 kilometers per second. Somebody will come definitely with a 500 kilometer per second car. At that point, you use the technology to go ahead and uplift your system. That will happen, sir. That will happen. There's no denial of it. And that has happened. Blockchain being the best case. That lies your answer. Very good.
Anyone?
Thank you. Thanks for the opportunity again. Thank you for having me. All the best.
Okay, let's give a big round of applause to Binish for the amazing talk. I want to express my gratitude for making this wonderful session possible. Thank you. So now I invite Fireport 80 committee members to present the memento as a token of appreciation. I welcome Pallavi.
Thank you.
Now,
ആര് കൊടുക്കും സദ്യവസരം വരും സർ അശ്വിൻ സർ താങ്ക് യു താങ്ക് യു
Thank you. About when we talk about AIOps, I think there is normally Fireport 80, like it exceeds the number of registrations beyond 40 or 50. When we said AIOps, people normally think like, no, it is not something that is related to us. I think only 30 or 35 registration happened, but each and everyone who came here are the one who have the relevance, right? So Fireport is also bringing the like-minded people from different companies, and this is the 106th edition. And when we talk about AIOps, I just want to tell you a story like ഒരു 10-30 വർഷം മുമ്പ് ബാങ്കുകാർ വന്നിട്ട് നമ്മുടെ അടുത്ത് പറയാണ് നിങ്ങൾ ഇനി കാശെടുക്കാൻ ബാങ്കിൽ വരണ്ട, ഞങ്ങൾ ഒരു പെട്ടിയിൽ കാശ് കൊണ്ട് വെച്ചേക്ക്, നിങ്ങൾ അവിടെ ചെന്ന് നിങ്ങൾക്കൊരു കാർഡ് തരും, അതുകൊണ്ട് എടുത്താൽ മതി എന്ന് പറഞ്ഞാൽ നമ്മൾ എന്ത് പറയും? കാശ് അപ്പോൾ ഇവിടെ കൊണ്ട് വെക്കും. അപ്പോൾ അത് റോഡിന്റെ സൈഡിലുള്ള കട അങ്ങനത്തെ ഒരു ഇതൊക്കെ ഇട്ടിട്ട് അവിടെ വെക്കും. അപ്പോൾ അങ്ങനെ കൊണ്ടുവച്ച് കഴിഞ്ഞാൽ ആൾക്കാർ അത് എടുത്തോണ്ട് പോവില്ലേ? So people do not even believe that something like ATM system is practically possible. അല്ലേ? ഇന്ന് ATMs സെക്യൂരിറ്റി പോലും ഇല്ലാണ്ട് എല്ലാ സ്ഥലങ്ങളിലും പണ്ട് നമ്മളൊരു ഇല്ലാണ്ട് നമ്മളവിടെ പോയിട്ട് ചെയ്തിട്ട് കാശ് എടുക്കുന്നുണ്ട് എന്ന് പറയുന്നത് പോലെ തന്നെയാണ് something that when we listen like there is something called AIOps is going to happen. Rajiv will say that it is never going to happen. So he's again saying children, all these things are just. Rajiv, you have to.
I'm not against, but I think that there's overabundance of the prediksha. പ്രതീക്ഷ ഉണ്ട്, കുറേ പ്രതീക്ഷയുണ്ട്. അത് ഈ 1970s ഇതുപോലെ പ്രതീക്ഷ ഉണ്ടായിരുന്നു, അത് നടക്കോ ഇല്ലയോ എന്നുള്ളതാണ്. ഓക്കെ, നൗ ദർ ഇസ് ലൈക്ക് humongous increase in compute, and not only that, humongous increase in availability of compute. Earlier that was not there. Now there's a humongous increase in the availability itself of compute, RAM and so on, which can change many things, but still the dream of the 70s, whether that is possible or not, because I really think that there is a misconception what exactly is the speciality of being a human being. You know, naturally, yes, a lot of things can be done. As you said, I mean, these are successful things. But I don't know if that is really, as I said before, can the, ഇപ്പോൾ ഒരു മനുഷ്യനാണെങ്കിൽ, ഇപ്പോൾ ഒരു നമ്മളൊരു സർവീസ് കസ്റ്റമർ സപ്പോർട്ട് മാനേജർ നമ്മളൊരാളെ ഹയർ ചെയ്യാണ്, പുള്ളിക്കാരൻ്റെ അടുത്ത് പറയേണ്ട കാര്യമൊന്നുമില്ല, അതെ ഈ SMS പോയില്ലെങ്കിൽ നമ്മുടെ ബിസിനസ് ഡൗൺ ആണ്, മീൻസ് ഓഫ് ആയി പോവും എന്ന് പറയേണ്ട കാര്യം ഇല്ല ശരിക്കും പറയാം. ബിക്കോസ് ദേ വിൽ അണ്ടർസ്റ്റാൻഡ് ഇറ്റ്, naturally they will understand it, and they will. How do you now, for AI there is a requirement to train, or at least to tell, right? How do we avoid that, or how does AI naturally understand it, is the big question.
Shall I? Sir, with all due respects, I am against AI. I am against AI. Why? Because I'm a human. But the thing is, if you analyze, if you don't go with what it is, you'll be sidelined. Charles Darwin. The thing is, AI, sir, പറഞ്ഞ അതേ എക്സാമ്പിൾ എടുക്കുകയാണെങ്കിൽ, you bring in a manager. I am a manager, but I have no clue of what your system is. Now, how did this person that you're hiring got his know-how? He went through a training process. The same thing is happening with your AI. There is no denial of that. But when it comes to a machine learning thing, we think that is not there. I'm giving that benefit of doubt. But 70s ഉണ്ടായിരുന്ന അതേ സാധനം നമുക്കൊരു the compute that you need to run, it took a building. The same compute now you have it in your watch, not even in your phone, right? അങ്ങനെ ഒരു കൺവേർജൻസ് വന്നിട്ടുണ്ട്. There is no denial. Now, AI വരുമ്പം ഇപ്പം നമ്മൾ കാണുന്നത്, why did 3.5 go public when 4 was there expected to be launched, generative GPT? Why? Because they needed more questions. They need more questions, and they cannot afford to have 4 to face it. They interim launched 3.5, and the wonders that it has done, the jobs that it has, I'm being very cutthroat. Developers in a job, നേരത്തെ പറഞ്ഞ 43%, that is rapidly increasing. Call centers, 10 lakh jobs in India. നമ്മുടെ project തന്നെ looking at almost 3,000 people. Now, when computers came in, there was an alternative, which at this point we do not see. Because computing, you need people to run it. But here, the algorithms are there to run it. If it is a 100 to 1 proportional jolly bomb, if you don't find something new, it will not stay. Now, coming to your question on എന്തിനാണ് നമ്മൾ ചെയ്യുന്നത്, we are always wanting to automate something. We want to go faster. That is a human nature. And the nature of humans right now, we're talking about Neuralink. We're talking about artificial brain. And human, ഞാൻ ഇന്ന് നിലനിൽക്കുന്ന ഹ്യൂമൻ ബോഡി, ഞാൻ അങ്ങനെ തന്നെ നിലനിൽക്കുന്ന ആർക്കും വാക്ക് കൊടുത്തിട്ടില്ല. ആസ് എ ഹ്യൂമൻ റേസ്, if human race can be replicated into Boston Robotics, which has all the moments in place with a mechanical brain that this guy brings in, you will never know if you are living in a human body or an exoskeleton, because it's all driven by the consciences, all the data points that you have in your brain. So your brain says you are living, and you're living. No other, if you're getting the same experience, if you're able to smell, taste, and then do whatever you're doing, including all the physical thing, pain, pleasure that you're talking about, It's all driven by the brain. If you can achieve that, you will never know if you're living in a matrix or out. അവിടെ നമ്മൾ എത്തി നിൽക്കുകയാണ്. I'm not saying science fiction. Problem, governments have blocked. If you've seen Sam Altman and then this guy meeting with the heads of states, because any such technology will be hijacked by the government before it comes to public review. They are doing that. That's why they went back on release of 5. There was a news there. Why? Because it is achieved. This is my belief on the AGI part. AGI is
Disagree, Allah. It's not disagree. I agree actually, but I think that there is this huge push to implement AI without really thinking about all the problems with it, right? Like I'll give you a couple of examples.
totally.
രണ്ടും ഞാൻ യു എസിൽ പോയപ്പോഴുള്ള എക്സാമ്പിൾസ് ആണ്. അപ്പോൾ ഇവർ ഈ കസ്റ്റമർ സർവീസ് that's the number one thing that everybody automates. For example, DoorDash and Uber both don't have any real customer service. There are AI bots. The issue is not in the 70% or 80% of customer requests, or let's say 99% of customer service requests. അത് മാക്സിമം മജോറിറ്റി ആൾക്കാർ ആവശ്യമില്ലാതെ വെറുതെ കസ്റ്റമർ സർവീസിന് വിളിക്കുന്നതാണ്. ഓക്കെ, അപ്പോൾ that's why the number of cases are the same. But that 1%, so I have an Indian credit card. It did not work on DoorDash. There is no way to contact them, no way to talk to them, no way. One day I fell asleep. They left their that food somewhere. I have no idea where it is. അവർ വിളിക്കാൻ യാതൊരു മാർഗമില്ല. AI could not adapt because AI knows about the many cases, right? But it does not know about the edge cases.
Totally, sir.
That's the issue.
So totally.
Now, so when you implement AI in customers, the problem is that there is this escalation in like, okay, what is AI capable of? And many companies, they go all in and they eliminate. So recently there was an example, somebody eliminated. ഇന്ത്യയിലൊരു കമ്പനിയാണ്, ഇന്ത്യയിലൊരു കമ്പനി ഡൺസോ ആണെന്ന് തോന്നുന്നു, ഏതോ ഒരു കമ്പനി, അവർ they totally eliminated their call center people and said now we only have AI. The problem is that 1%, and that 1% can be very problematic because they will say, right, customer service in the പ്രശ്നം എന്താണെന്ന് അറിയാം, നെഗറ്റീവ് കാര്യങ്ങളെ പുറത്തു വരുള്ളൂ. ഒരിക്കലും ഒരു പോസിറ്റീവ് എക്സ്പീരിയൻസ് ആരും റിവ്യൂവിൽ എഴുതുന്നില്ല. അപ്പോൾ അത് once it comes out, it becomes a big problem for their brand. And how does AI take care of that or have the real understanding of the issues and figure it out? So that's my only concern. See, I am not against AI per se, but it is the one thing I'm against is claiming that AI, the way it is implemented currently, somehow replicates human behavior, which it does not. I don't think it does. It cannot. The core AI human behavior or the human propensity, let's say that's the more correct word, the human propensity, consciousness or whatever, that is not, it is very superficially presented in this. AI is there, I get it, there are the generative algorithms, all these kind of things, I get it, I totally understand, and without adopting it, we are dead. But at the same time, equating it to some kind of a human abilities is actually, I think it's like little bit stretching the
it is, sir, it is. We cannot. So the only thing is, quoting imitation is the best way of flattery. These systems can only learn from us. Now, what we're talking about is how we behave, right? If I put together, and if you know about how palmistry was actually invented, the same thing. Now, looking at the palm, there are people who predict your future, past and present, right? Similarly, we are learning, or we are teaching that particular piece how to go ahead and decipher stuff, which is doing very brilliantly. Now, if you put it through, say, good example is Go, which it achieved almost 5 years back. Go, it quadruples every move that you make it. The outcome is trillions, right? it won on that because it's intuition. Intuition is what drives the game go. Whereas we came to a position where AI machines were talking to each other in a language humans couldn't understand. Facebook. So the thing is, it has got, how do we talk about or how do we evaluate human intelligence? It's basic ifs and nos, ifs and buts, if else, the computer way. If something is the definition in the 70s and the way that you have evolved, uh, the question is, what is your definition of AI? If you are conversing with a bot and you don't know whether it is a human or a machine, then you have achieved. That's a Turing test, yeah, the Turing test. We went past that. Now, the claim that we had I mean, do we have time? So the question that we had was, we will only be able to mimic art, music. Creativity was our standpoint. We said, no way. Now you cannot disagree. The kind of, there is zero mimicking. If you check the entire image repository and look at the AI generated one, because artists have signed it off, right? It has done that, which means creativity is not something which is far away, or it has already been done 1 year back. Now, talk about AGI, which is general intelligence. What is the general intelligence? If you're able to score on that without knowing what exactly is sitting on the other side, you achieve it. Now, we can only benchmark stuff on stuff that we are marking ourselves. And if a machine is capable to do that, and you cannot distinguish if it was human or a machine, that is what AI is about. Now, when you say it cannot do it, that's only a test of time. Now, we
I heard some philosophers say that basically real general intelligence can only appear because it can only appear when there is a combination of robotics and AI. Primarily the reason is that one of the biggest misconceptions is that somehow our intelligence is linked to our brains, whereas in reality our intelligence is actually linked to our entire bodies. Like without the ability to feel,
the muscle memory that you're talking about, the fire example you're talking about, yeah.
because if you, studies have been done on children, how children acquire language, and so on. And you don't see the same thing in human beings.
In
Sorry,
AI,
in AGIs or AIs
it does, sir.
as of now.
It does.
So,
It does.
I mean, not really. No, I mean, I'm talking about like children, for example, learn about 3,000 words, added 3,000 new words into the vocabulary. Remember, from nothing.
Yes.
See, I'll give you one very important food for thought for everybody. Okay. Um, so everybody thinks of children as small human beings, small adults, little adults. The difference is in the knowledge that they have about the world. Okay. So
And the way
world has
they
got things
communicate
and so on
about
and
it,
so
yeah.
forth. But one very important thing is if you really take that thing, and you really should, you should remember that children actually have a baby, for example, does not even know, does not know. Remember this, think about this very clearly. Baby doesn't know what is mother. Actually, so if you look at these, psychoanalysts and all what they say, baby actually cannot distinguish itself from the rest of the world. Like it does not know that there is a world, that there is actually a mother. That mother is a human being, and that mother has got certain parts, right? Like mainly the breast, because that's the most
The
important
food,
thing that
yeah,
baby wants.
it's a natural instinct that comes through, yeah.
In fact, so I'll tell you one very interesting thing. I really wonder whether AI will be able to do this. Have you all heard about this concept called omnipotence?
Mm-hmm.
Everybody says God is omnipotent. God can do anything. From where does that come? Where does that feeling come that there is an entity that can do anything, can do everything? It is powerful enough to achieve anything. Okay, it can do anything. Literally destroy the world, create the world, and so on. Where does it come from? Actually, that is one of probably, like psychoanalysts say that that's probably one of our earliest memories,
Because as a baby, as a small baby, very small, you're just born. Just imagine, you cry, automatically somebody comes and gives you the milk.
Yes.
You don't need to do anything. Just think and something happens. Okay. Uh, Baby does not know. So baby is actually a little bit omnipotent over there in the sense that whatever baby doesn't want a lot. Baby doesn't want programming or Facebook or anything. Baby only wants few things. But whatever it wants, it immediately achieves without requesting it or having some social structure or something like that. And it does not differentiate what is mother, what is baby. There is no difference. Actually, all of that is one thing. So a lot of studies has been done about the mental development of babies and how minds actually develop and so on. And we do not see that kind of thing. Like I'll tell you, the most important thing is not the successes of AI. It is actually the failures. So if you go into a stable diffusion or any of the other places, and you type some impossible situations, okay, AI will generate it. Whereas a baby will tell you or a child will tell you that is impossible.
Okay.
How is that possible? How come a child, actually this has been actually studied, child for example will tell you about ungrammatical sentences even though it has not been taught what is ungrammatical or not. Like നമ്മളിപ്പോൾ ഒരു സെന്റൻസ് പറയാണ് ആ സെന്റൻസ് ഗ്രാമാറ്റിക്കൽ ആണോ അല്ലയോ എന്നുള്ളത് നമ്മൾ പഠിപ്പിക്കാതെ തന്നെ ബേബിക്ക് അറിയാം. Baby എന്ന് പറഞ്ഞാൽ child, I'm talking about toddlers 1 to 3 years old or 1 to 5 years old. How is it that a baby is able to do it or a child is able to do it, whereas an AI will just do it and will just generate wrong things, impossible things. So that is where, so I totally agree. I totally agree that there's humongous value. Uh, there is humongous value to AI and what AI does in terms of productivity, in terms of like generating new ideas and so on. But equating it to some sense to what is human experience, maybe it is a different experience. That maybe I can agree. Like maybe it's a totally different thing. Like how in the Terminator movies. In the Terminator movies, it is a totally different. So it's like there is a human intelligence, and then there is a computer intelligence, and there is like two totally different things, and they are having a war with each other. Or Matrix, same thing. Like maybe that is possible, but I don't know if we will replicate the human intelligence in a perfect way. I mean, again, these are not questions that can be really answered in any sense, right? Time will tell what happens. But I just want to put forward that thought.
Sir, totally agree. Totally agree, and I'm in line with what you mentioned, like the child use case that you mentioned. Now, there are a lot of studies, like what you said. Child, when you're growing up, you are getting tuned to one set of usage of languages. From where the child does not think whether it is right or wrong, and then if he feels from what he had known, it calls it out. The muscle memory of humans, the fire part, nobody teaches. The moment that you get it, you learn it. That intuition, now, that is what we're talking about. Definitely, there is a lot of mimicry that is happening, the data set. But if you look at the way that we are made, we inherit a lot of knowledge in our DNAs. That is a given. I mean, that there are scientific things that have proved, yes, this is your knowledge strand. It has come with all these things. That is established. Meaning, as a child which is born, you definitely are inheriting a piece of knowledge that has been there before you. And the best example is the way that a 1-year-old is using a mobile phone right now. That clearly proves it. Now, why not an AI that can inherit knowledge? We are linking because we are able to see the generation or a birth of a child from where we are calling it the starting point. When we are talking about a generative AI, we are not able to say that, yeah, it has acquired all these Google's database and that's what it's talking. The same thing happens with the child, which we are not able to decipher, and hence we are saying it is intuition. But what is in play is this pre-acquired knowledge.
So I don't, by the way, I don't agree with that at all. It's not, by the way, this thing that I'm talking about, this was a very important thing
That's what. So there is, we are not finding a perfect answer. But the only point is, I'm not saying what humans are capable of doing is done by AI, but there is a point that convergence is happening right now, where you, the the Turing test is the best answer to that, wherein you are not able to distinguish what is you need. Now, since we know that these are the LLMs that we're talking to, we look down upon it. But the same thing is happening when a child talks to you. We are able to take it because it's a form of nature, and then that humane thing comes in. But with a machine, you don't. My point is that if the thing is, if you're not able to distinguish, and then I have not given guarantee to anyone that I will exist in this form. If there comes an option where I can brain dump, I can seriously go ahead and die somewhere, and my thing is continued, and I'll be interacting with the same lingos, languages, and all those in the machine form. So I think that is what is open up for us. Again, like what you said, that's not the end point. It's just a start. There's no denial to the fact that that is happening. That's all what it is. Thank you.
Okay, that was an interesting conversation. So, അവിടെ പറഞ്ഞു ഈ ഒരു തർക്കം അവിടെ നിലനിൽക്കുന്നതാണ്, and let the time prove that how it works. Okay. അപ്പോൾ and it is also about knowing each other. It is not just about having one session and coming together as a similar and then moving forward as a community. And there will be very less people who are interested in AIOps as of now, but this is a beginning, and we will see like more people coming interested on the topic. And it is a very early stage, and I really appreciate the bold step that Finastra is taking towards doing the experiment on AIOps. And because whenever we work on the bleeding edge, there is a lot of troubles, lot of challenges, lot of problems that we have to face, and that is faced by the people who lead to ensure like it saves time and resources for the next people who follow. So it was a really great honor to have you here. Thank you so much, and we can officially conclude the session. Yeah. Bye.